So I recently found myself in Orlando, Florida at a Disney resort on purpose. I was there to attend the Eliot Masie 2018 Learning event, or if you're looking it up on social media, #Learning 2018. And I was very fortunate to be able to go to this event. It brings together thousands, in this case 2,000, of learners from around the world. And by around the world, I truly mean around the world. There were people there from Sri Lanka, people there from Amsterdam, people there from everywhere. And it was really cool to see so many people who do things that are similar to what I do. They can speak my particular dialect of geek when it comes to learning and the future of work and AI and machine learning and gamification. It's a great event to be at, but what I've learned from this and also from camping in the backwoods of Colorado is any trip is a little bit painful too, and it's best to come home and let those mosquito bites heal and let your back get back to normal, or in the case of corporate America, get around your family and get some sleep and get over the jet lag before you start to make too many assumptions about what you actually are taking away from an event like this. And so with that in mind, that's exactly what I have done. A couple of things have floated to the top of my head that aren't how much I missed my family. Eliot Masie is, in his own words, a level 69 adult learner who's made a career out of bringing people together. And his offerings are in typical seminar fashion. They cover the spectrum from classes that are the lowest common denominator for everyone to people who speak a particular dialect of my ID tribe, geekology. And the one thing that I kept hearing over and over in everything that I saw was storytelling. Storytelling, storytelling. Everything is a story. But I think that you can take it a little bit deeper than that. And while I didn't leave the event convinced that I should ever return, I did leave with a new appreciation for the story of the story. I found myself fascinated with observing the machine that builds the machine, the experience design. So here I am. I find myself at a Disney resort, which is all about experience design. Everything is calculated. Nothing is done by accident. If you get a fountain drink, there's a chip on the bottom of your fountain drink that tells you how many refills you have when you go back to fill it up again. And I'm here to attend an event put on by a man who is a Broadway producer who also happens to do learning. So taking that storytelling and breaking it down into experience design is my first point, this collision of ideas, these things that come together. It's not necessarily the class that I went to, the thing that I heard, the product that I saw, but the combination of all these things in the same room. When they collided, they created these sparks, they created ideas that made it something more than I would have got if I had just taken it word for word and said, tell me what the future is. Okay, I'm going to go try to produce this now. And I think that collision of ideas is the best takeaway that I had from this entire event. That's when it occurred to me that everything is designed by somebody. The gates we drove under to announce that we'd arrived at the most magical place on earth, the seat that I sat in on the bus to get there, the shoes that I walked in, everything is designed by somebody to tell a story. I'll give you a couple of examples just from the experience of getting to Disney from the airport. And it actually starts way before that. I had been sent a number of different communications telling me what to expect on my trip. I was given all the information when I would get more information about how I should go about doing this. And it primed me with this idea that Disney's got this. Disney has my back. All I have to do is follow their instructions and I will get where I need to be and the magic will begin. And so putting that into practice looked like getting off of the plane in Orlando, Florida. I already knew that I was to show up at Side B, Level 1, where the Disney Magical Express would get me on my way. As I walked up to the booth where the lady was, she wanted to know all about my trip and was it a good trip and my reservation number so that she could then look up which line I should stand in to catch the bus that was taking me to my particular hotel, and I was on my way. One of the first things that you'll notice when you get into the Magical Kingdom is there are people from around the world in there. Not just people there to see a seminar, but everyone that works there is usually from a different part of the world, and it says right on their name tag where it is they're from. So a lady from New Zealand was the person that I met at the front desk who was going to tell me what the next part of my journey was going to be. And she was very pleasant, wanted to know all about my ride from the airport to the hotel. And then she drew on a little map with the Sharpie marker where I was and where I needed to go next, told me if I had any trouble, I should just let her know and she would solve all of my problems for me. She put a watch on my wrist that is my key to get into the door, so I only have to hold my hand up to the door and use some Disney magic to get in. And if I wanted to, I could also attach a credit card to that, so when it came time to pay, I didn't even have to go through the process of pulling my wallet out of my pocket and paying for anything. So what I'm not saying is that we should try to take people's money without them thinking about it when they can't afford it. What I am saying is that we should think about every piece of the experience. We should think about how we can design each little piece of the learning that we do, the process of getting to that learning, what happens after that learning, and how many times they're refreshed on that learning, so that we have control over the process and we give our learners the best possible opportunity to learn, to elevate, and to do something that is evergreen and will last with them for quite a while in their job. That's easier said than done, but through experience design, I think that we have a fair shot, and along the way we can do some testing to see how we're doing. So one of the last pieces that I'm going to talk about today, although I could talk for hours about any of these things, I think, is this idea of symbiotics. Symbols everywhere that make you a part of a group or don't make you a part of a group. The idea that almost everybody's wearing the same name tag and that it has your name on it and has a QR code. It tells us a lot more than just who that person is. And that barcode allows us to scan and say, I would like to talk to you later. And in that process, the person who's wearing that barcode, that name tag, is saying, hey, I would like to talk to you later too. So now we have this guided journey. We are designing an experience for you, but we're not telling you everything that you need to do. You're still on your own journey as well, but we are going to give you hints. And in the case of Masie, the way that they gave these hints was very, very blatant with the symbiotics. They give you buttons, and a button might say something like introvert or extrovert, or it might say geek, or it might say ask me about this or that. The idea is that you're now wearing a name tag that has your name, where you're from, it has a QR code if people want to contact you, but you also have buttons on you that are saying, hey, I'm this kind of person. If you're this kind of person, then you should come talk to me and we'll have a conversation. And to loop this back one more time, that is the point. We are creating collisions of ideas, collisions of peoples, collisions of industry. These are all the things that make the sparks of innovation that are driving the emerging technologies and the future of work. So to wrap this up, while this might seem like a tangled nest, a web of weirdness, it's actually what we're seeing in the world everywhere we look, from technology to people, is that everything is connected. We can't just tug on one thing and expect all the other things to play in line. If we do one thing, another thing will happen. And this is where I've started to apply not just design thinking, but along with design thinking, systems thinking. What happens if I do this? Does it have the impact that I want globally, or is it just on that one individual? And these are the kind of things that I'm going to be thinking about quite a bit as I move forward with 2019. So as I said, I could talk about this forever, and if you're somebody who would like to talk to me about this forever, by all means reach out. I'd be happy to tell you more.